According to the gospel message, you can never measure up to God's standards on your own merits and your own efforts. You can never obtain your own righteousness before God and be acquitted and be accepted in His kingdom, in His eternal heavens, wherever His realms may be, His dwelling places or place. He is outside of time, and yet He fills time. He's everywhere, His Spirit. Yeah, who can measure up? Jesus said that with man, it's impossible. But with God, all things are possible. So God has to be the initiator of the forgiveness and of the righteousness and of the mercy, and God has to be the beginner of it. God has to initiate the relationship, God has to start it, and God has to finish it. Because the Apostle Paul, I believe, says that he is the author and perfecter of our faith. So, Paul says in the book of Romans, where's boasting? It's excluded. How come? Because true glory only belongs to God. Because we only exist because of God. So because we only exist because of God, then who ultimately gets credit for anything that we do here on earth in our bodies that God created? God should get all the credit because I didn't start my life. I didn't will my existence. Someone else did. Before the foundations of the earth, according to the Bible, that it was already pre-thought out, pre-planned. Our lives, our destinies, our origins, it all comes from God. And the only thing that we have to do is respond to God's calling, we have to respond to God's will for our lives. He gives us freedom of choice, but obviously God is sovereign. He can override choices. He can override many things because God is eternal. And but yet, because He has created us with a certain degree of free will, He wants things to be done from the motivation of love for God, and that's why love is meaningful, because it is of free will. True love isn't forced upon anyone. True love is voluntarily. So He didn't make us as robots. He made us with free will. Although we are, to a certain degree, we kind of are robotic because we're all plugged into the earth and its electrical fields and all of its gravitational pulls, all the laws of physics. So we are kind of bound by certain things that are not our choice. But within those parameters and limitations and laws, and He's given us a certain degree of free will. So some don't like it. Some don't like the idea that there's a God, that they come up with all kinds of accusations about who God is and who God might be and why they disdain Him or dislike God. If there's a God, why is He so cruel to allow things to happen? But if you go back in history, it wasn't God's fault. It was man's fault because He gave man free will. And some people make bad choices, just like your children do. You know, parents try to teach their kids to go the right way and do the right things, but they have a choice, ultimately. They can choose to obey their parents, what they've been taught, or they can do something different, contrary to how they were raised. So, that's same with God. It's the same principle. God is the supreme parent, and He teaches us certain principles and good things, and we have a choice to follow those good things, or choose a different direction. Not without consequences, good or bad. The laws are there, the morality laws, just like the physical laws, and they all have consequences, good or bad. So we should choose the good, I suppose.